Welcome back to Movie Spirit. Today, I'm going to show you a mystery drama called The Game. The movie is set in the outskirts of San Francisco, where a businessman named Nicholas Van Orton is preparing for his day. Despite living in a big mansion, Nicholas lives alone because his career success has negatively impacted his family life. He is bored and lonely, having only one living relative left, his brother Conrad. The brothers haven't seen each other in 2 years because of their strained relationship. Nicholas is informed that Conrad has been attempting to arrange a meeting with him for several days. Nicholas is surprised when Conrad greets him at a restaurant to wish him a happy birthday. Conrad even gives him a voucher for an unusual game from a company called CRS. Nicholas thinks it's a prank gift, but Conrad insists and makes Nicholas promise to visit the CRS office this week. The next day, Nicholas heads inside a building for a meeting, almost forgetting about the voucher. It turns out that the CRS office is also located here. He enters and is welcomed by Jim, who works there. Jim gives Nicholas a tour of the office and explains the pre-game protocols, but doesn't provide any information about the game itself. Nicholas is frustrated by his unanswered questions, but the game's mystery continues to captivate him. Without knowing what the game truly is, he agrees to play. Before playing, Nicholas must clear his schedule to take a 4-hour personality test. Some questions are odd, such as whether he hurts small animals. After the test, he is informed that he will receive a call if he is chosen for the game. The next day, he hangs out with his tennis club friends and overhears them discussing CRS. Both of his friends have played the CRS game before and want to play it again. Nicholas asks about the game, but his friends won't give him an answer. During the meeting, he receives a call from CRS informing him that his application has been rejected. Nicholas is disappointed by the news because he was excited to play the game. While driving home at night, he discovers a life-size clown doll at a turnaround and decides to take it home. Inspecting it, he finds a key attached to its tongue with the CRS logo on it. Nicholas thinks this means that the game has begun despite them saying that he's rejected. He hears a voice asking if he plans to spend the whole evening inspecting the doll. The voice is actually the news anchor on TV, seemingly talking directly to Nicholas. He explains the rules of the game to Nicholas, telling him to find other objects like the key and keep them close until the game is over. Nicholas finds a hidden camera in the doll and realizes they are using it to watch him. He destroys the camera in the doll and goes to sleep. The following day, Nicholas is followed by bad luck. He keeps seeing clown-shaped objects, people seem to stare at him knowingly, and his shirt got ruined by a CRS pen in his pocket. The bad luck gets worse as he fails to open his briefcase, costing him a business deal. He tries the CRS key to open it to no avail. He goes to have dinner in a restaurant and meets a waitress named Christine. She spills wine on his shirt by accident and her boss fires her right away. Nicholas quickly receives a bill with the message "Don't let her escape." He thinks the message is about Christine, so he quickly tries finding her outside. Nicholas finds a sick man in a dark alley before Christine suddenly appears, saying they should bring the man to a hospital. A police car conveniently passes by and offers to help them at the perfect moment. As emergency services arrive at the hospital, the lights go out, and when they come back on, only Christine and Nicholas are left in the parking lot. Nicholas realizes it's part of the game. When they find a broken elevator, Nicholas manages to fix it using the CRS key. When he tells Christine about the CRS game, she thinks it's some sadistic activity for the wealthy. They leave the elevator and discover they're in the CRS building. They set off an alarm while attempting to break into the offices and must escape before being caught. Nicholas takes Christine to his mansion, feeling guilty for involving her in the situation. They talk briefly before she showers and calls a taxi to go home. Before leaving, Christine confesses that someone offered her $400 to spill wine on him, but she didn't see who made the offer. Nicholas expresses gratitude for her honesty and says goodbye. The next morning, he receives a call about leaving his credit card in a hotel lobby the previous night. Nicholas goes to get his card despite not recalling ever being in a hotel yesterday. The staff, to his confusion, recognizes him and takes him to the room he supposedly stayed in last night. Nicholas enters a chaotic room filled with alcohol bottles and drugs scattered all over. There's an adult video playing on the TV and there are naked pictures of women on the table. Nicholas is surprised to find that his stuck briefcase is also on the table and has been opened. He swiftly tidies the mess and returns to his office, aware that his business, reputation, finances, and safety might be in danger. He quickly calls his attorney Sam and instructs him to gather information about CRS. He opens an envelope he found in the hotel room, finding a glass breaker tool inside. Nicholas wants to go to bed immediately after returning home that night. Arriving home, he notices it has been broken in, as its walls are covered in graffiti. As Nicholas calls the police, he is startled by banging on his front door. His equally frantic brother, Conrad, is the one causing the commotion. Conrad hasn't answered Nicholas's calls because he doesn't trust anyone anymore. They leave the mansion in Nicholas's car because they no longer feel safe there. Conrad admits he's tired of the overwhelming impact the CRS game has had on his life. He wants to remove them, but despite paying them a large sum of money, he has been unsuccessful. After the car gets a flat tire, Conrad finds a bunch of CRS keys. He assumes his brother is also with the CRS and runs away, despite Nicholas' attempts to stop him. Nicholas ultimately gives up and takes a taxi to go to the police. On the way, the taxi driver misses an exit, indicating that he is working for CRS. Nicholas freaks out when the driver jumps off the car and it plunges into the river. As water fills the car, Nicholas recalls he has a glass-breaking device. He uses the device to save himself and swim to safety. Nicholas looks up Christine's address and decides to come there since he has no one else to help him. They chat for a bit until he realizes that inside an old-looking lamp, its price tag is intact and burning inside it. He begins to notice other things in the house that seem odd, like the fake tap and books on the shelves. After Christine goes outside, Nicholas confronts her about still working for the CRS and discovers they are under surveillance. The CRS employees shoot at them through the window, but they escape through the back door. While heading to safety, Christine informs Nicholas that CRS has used his personality test to discover his passcodes, resulting in all his money being transferred to a foreign account. Nicholas checks his balance and confirms that she is telling the truth. Christine explains that it's impossible to get the money back because she has witnessed this situation happen to many others. Next, they visit Christine's actual house where she explains that she was threatened into accepting the job. Nicholas doesn't believe her anymore. He realizes his suspicion is true when he becomes dizzy because she drugged his drink. Nicholas wakes up the next day and realizes he's in a cemetery in Mexico. He lacks both a passport and the funds to return home. After spending a whole day searching for assistance, he eventually comes across a truck that is headed towards San Francisco. When Nicholas finally arrives home, it's currently being put up for sale. Feeling a lack of trust towards everyone in his life, he makes the decision to meet up with his ex-wife, Elizabeth, in a cafe. Nicholas apologizes for his past behavior towards her while they were still in relationship. Nicholas, who believes his life is coming to an end, catches sight of a TV advertisement featuring Jim, the CPR employee who welcomed him in CPR's office last week. Nicholas finds Jim and his children at an aquarium and proceeds to threaten him. Fearing his own safety, Jim brings Nicholas to the actual office of CRS. Nicholas isn't even surprised when he recognizes several people in the crowd whom he has met in the past week, but his attention is immediately drawn to Christine. He takes her as a hostage, bringing her to the rooftop. In a state of panic, Christine admits that they are still participating in the game organized by CPR and Conrad. She assures that Nicholas' finances are secure and that their family and friends are eagerly waiting on the other side of the door to surprise and congratulate them for successfully completing the game. He doesn't believe her after everything he's been through. As the door forcefully swings open, Nicholas shoots the person behind the door on reflex. Unfortunately, the person turns out to be Conrad, who is holding a bottle of champagne. Nicholas is devastated that he killed his own brother, so he decides to jump off the rooftop in anguish. His entire life flashes before his eyes until he breaks through a glass roof and safely lands on a large airbag. It seemed like they already anticipated his fall. The paramedics immediately arrive, wasting no time in carefully removing him and getting him treated. When Nicholas regains consciousness, he discovers that he is in a ballroom surrounded by his friends, family, and everyone who was involved in the game, including Conrad. From the moment he discovered the clown doll until now, everything that has happened to him has actually been nothing more than a game. Conrad says that he planned the game with the intention of helping his brother embrace life, since Nicholas seemed to be stuck in his lonely and mundane life before this. After Nicholas's initial shock, he starts crying but eventually calms down and begins to have a good time at the party. After some time, he notices that Christine has departed from the party. He decides to follow her outside to where she is getting into a taxi. She finally reveals her actual name, which is Claire. The movie ends with Nicholas inviting her to dinner, but she suggests a coffee at the airport instead, before she departs to Australia for her next game assignment. With that, the movie ends. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss videos like this.